Did you record?
No, not
We
yet.
did. Yo, what's up?
What's good, everybody?
How's it going? My hair looks a mess. It's been the longest I've ever gone without a haircut. So I
Well,
cannot wait to
everybody
get
knows that if I'm wearing a hat, then I do date. So,
I don't look great with hats on. No, so it's been a while since I've gotten a haircut, so I'm excited. I'm finally gonna get that done this weekend. So
all right, man.
I don't look as musty.
You
But
want
how
to
are
change
you
up the
doing, man?
look?
Huh?
You want to change up the look?
Probably not. I will probably get my beard shaved, and I've said this before too. I've never done it, but I'll probably get my whole beard shaved like in November, just to see how that looks. But
Okay, going with the baby face.
going with the baby face, yeah. Getting older, just try to look younger. So yeah. Um, no, how are you doing, man? How's life
Good,
treating
man.
you? Dope dad.
Yeah,
Um,
everything's going good. Uncle Sam's still trying to take all my money. You know what I mean? Once again.
Birthday's coming up
So,
this month, so I'm brushing up on some tips to be more green.
that was
If you want to hear one, just ask.
is
that was
Siri talking to you or something,
that
man?
was my okay Google. My bad. Super professional over here. Super professional over here. Yeah,
Always.
yeah. Go ahead though.
No, I mean, just Uncle Sam been in my pockets. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
Paying these
it's that
taxes.
time of year, tax season.
Yeah, I hate it.
Sorry about that.
I'm gonna have to make some adjustments to my income, my pre-tax
Gotta find
donations
ways
or
to
something.
get hit with that. Yeah, no, I hear you. It's harder on families too. Like for me, like I got lucky because I can sell. Like if I sell stock at a loss, then that I can take a tax credit from that, which is so silly, right?
Hmm.
Where you can sell stock at a loss and up to like $3,000 or five, I'm not sure. You could
Yeah.
that's tax deductible. Same thing with like cryptocurrency too. If you lose money during the cryptocurrency, you can get some of that money back.
Hmm.
Just an FYI. Cool. I also wanted to ask you right quick about your boy Jalen Hurts. Boy got signed to a big deal.
Oh, very happy about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we went ahead and locked that up. Yeah, man. Very
that's
happy
what's
about
up.
that. 5 years,
Highest paid.
255 million, 179 guaranteed. I mean, we got
Yeah, no,
we got the offense, man.
you got the offense. Yeah, no, I'm super happy for him though. Like just listening to his whole story is um is pretty awesome. So definitely happy for him. Just seeing where he's gone. I wish he kind of won the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I wish it happened for him, but can't win them all, right? So he's just gonna have to accept a really large payday uh, instead of a
I'm
Super
sure
Bowl
he's
ring.
happy, and he has an all-female like agent team or something like that. Like I read a story about how she like DM'd him like shortly after he graduated or right before or something like that, and while he was still looking for agents, and I mean they connected, and that was that, and now he's got like she's doing him right. So
Yeah. Well, this is a
congrats.
guy that they didn't think it was gonna be a whatchamacallit, they didn't think he was gonna be a quarterback,
Oh, they always try
national
to do
quarterback.
that. You should be a DB or something stupid like that, you know.
Yeah, or running back or some other shit, right? Um, I think someone who could like learn from him is Lamar Jackson.
I understand what Lamar was trying to do, but yeah, I agree, man. It's not working out.
Yeah. By the way, there's still I don't know if you saw my message. There's heavy static on your end still.
Still right now.
Yeah.
Hold on one
Are you
second.
using the mic?
Of course I'm using the mic. Shut up.
Just fucking asking shit. Get out of here. Hello? Can you hear me?
All right, how about now?
Much better. There it
Okay.
is.
All right.
Good. Okay, cool. Well, at least for now until it breaks again. All right, so making fun of your troubles has always been a blessing. So yeah, I was gonna say not a whole lot, but there is a couple things that's happened this week. So it's another week, another shooting.
Yo,
It's happened,
man.
two of them, in fact, right? Um, and we're actually gonna go through two of them right now. So I'm actually gonna just go ahead and play a video, and this guy's gonna explain it. Actually, there's like another video that I wanted to play, but let's go ahead and play this one real quick. Hold on. And I'll go here. But in the meantime, let's play this one.
What the hell is wrong with America? Yesterday, we had a 20-year-old woman shot dead in upstate New York because she pulled into the wrong driveway. And the other day, we had 16-year-old Ralph Yarl shot twice behind a locked door because he knocked on the wrong house in a neighborhood. And you know what's common between these two instances? It was caused by a crazy person with a gun. If we had more gun control and made it so that you can't go to your local Walmart and walk out 10 minutes later with a gun, this would have never happened. We need more gun control because things like this will continue to happen if we refuse to act.
Yeah.
So, how many times have you been driving around, not sure where you were going,
Yeah.
and you're like, I need to make a U-turn, and you just like, roll up in somebody's driveway, back out, boom, like you're on your way. How many times have you done that?
Countless. Countless.
I mean,
of times.
right? Like, I don't even know what to say anymore. Especially, there's that. I mean, I think I can't even say which one is worse, right? Because they're both horrible. Well, I mean, just think about that. Like, somebody's in your driveway for all of like 5 seconds, and instead of just being like, oh, they moved on, you grab your gun and shoot them. Like, it's crazy to me. And then this poor kid, I mean, my God.
Yeah. It's insane. There's a couple more things that I'm gonna like share. One thing just kind of popped up to me, but yeah, so there are two instances. The first kid was shot by an 85-year-old man, right?
Yes.
Who so what he did is that he knocked on the door, right? And I want to make sure I have his name right. His name is Yarl.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at Ralph Yarl. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy who shot him is Andrew Lester.
Yeah. What's his last name? Yarl what?
Ralph Yarl.
Ralph. Yeah. Okay. Got to make sure we get that right.
What's crazy is, so first of all, Ralph was shot like in the head
and in the arm.
He's still alive, y'all.
Yeah.
If that doesn't tell you that there's a God up there, I don't know what does, right? I mean, regardless of how you worship or follow, I mean, there's something up there, because I don't know how he survived that without.
Well, yeah. So apparently he was shot through the door. He was shot in the head, and then shot like then the guy apparently opened the door and shot him in the arm, and he was still able to crawl to safety.
Yeah.
Have somebody else help him.
Yeah.
Which is.
And that's the crazy part. The guy like didn't even open the door all the way. He just opened like, I have a regular door, and you have like your screen door or whatever. I mean, I do that all the time, right? Just it's supposed to be like some security, I guess, but dude just shot him through the door. I mean, he didn't even try to like see what the kid wanted, see why he might be there. I mean,
this is kind of what happens when you act through fear, right? And this is kind of what they've been trying to perpetuate. I'm gonna play one more video. Well, there's a couple videos I want to play on this. So let's play another one.
Kid was going to pick up his brother and rang the doorbell of the wrong house, and so the guy shoots him for it. Shoots him in the head. Comes out, shoots him again while he's on the ground. Somehow he lived, thank God. This girl wasn't so lucky. She was looking for a party in upstate New York and used a stranger's driveway to turn her car around in. The guy comes out and just starts shooting. Kills her. She's dead. This is the Fox News effect. We have millions of angry old dudes just glued to this garbage night after night, getting whipped up into a frenzy over critical race theory or drag queens or there's a book at your kid's school about a kid with 2 dads. I guarantee you the hosts of Fox News don't care about any of these issues. They have just figured out how to monetize rage, monetize the fear of angry old men, and they're laughing all the way to the bank while they're destroying our democracy, they're making our country less safe, and they're literally rotting the brains of an entire generation.
So this monetizing rage thing is something that we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show a little bit. Let me play another one. I got another one and another one. And another one.
All right, DJ Khaled.
Is a 16-year-old black boy in Kansas City who on April 13th was stopping by a house to pick up his brother from a friend's house. Knocking at the wrong address, Jarl was shot in the head by a white man through the door. Today, April 17th, officials say Ralph is in stable condition with a life-threatening injury. The white man who shot Ralph was taken to police headquarters to provide a statement before being released. Since in Missouri, a person taken into custody for a felony investigation must be released or charged within 24 hours. Investigators are looking into whether the shooting falls under the Stand Your Ground law. The Kansas City police are calling the shooting an error. However, Ralph's aunt, Faith Spoonmore, said this was not an error. This was a hate crime. You don't shoot a child in the head because he rang your doorbell. The fact that police said it was an error is why America is the way it is. A GoFundMe page was started for Ralph's hospital care, where the page reads, "My nephew fell to the ground and the man shot him again." Ralph was then able to get up and run to the neighbor's house looking for help. The questions for you are, 1, why would police call this shooting an error? And 2, if not an error, how would you describe what happened to Ralph Yarl?
Yeah, it's not an error if you shoot him twice, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Because the account is that he shot him through the door and then he walked up and shot him again. That's not an error, ladies and gentlemen. That is attempted murder.
Yes. That is. I've been waiting for some black person to try to rob me. Oh, here's my moment. I get to use my gun.
Yeah.
So you shoot the wrong guy, right?
The other thing was I saw in the video. You might have to play it again, honestly. But why did they let him go originally? They said that it was an error. Explain that.
So what he did is that he gave a statement, right? And they have all these weird stand your ground laws, right? They have famously one in Florida, the one where there's so many of these shootings now. You keep forgetting the names. His name is George, whatever his name is, who shot a hooded black figure. There's just so many of these. It's sad that I don't know their names off the top of my head, but then it just happens so often now. Like, this is where we are.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea was that he was defending himself and it was just an accident, and that's what they were going to try to go off of. But I guess the outcry is what had them essentially turn around and say, "Oh, nope, let's arrest this guy."
There were protests. And then I guess, from what I understand, like that caused them to like go back and take the case more seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. This is also what happened to the Ahmaud Arbery case, right?
Yeah.
Well, they let him go. They were out free for more than a month, right?
Right.
They were connected enough to have like a DA kind of try to push this under the rug, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is something similar happened as well. Last video. So yeah.
The boy was shot twice in the head after mistakenly going to the wrong house to pick up his siblings in Kansas City.
Initial reports say that the boy was shot once through the door after knocking on it, and then again while lying on the ground.
Miraculously, the boy's still alive. The homeowner, an 85-year-old man, has just been charged with first-degree assault and armed criminal action, which can carry a sentence anywhere between 10 years to life in prison.
But he's claiming self-defense.
So let's talk about that.
Self-defense is one of the grayest, most controversial, most unpredictable areas of the law. The law says that you're allowed to use self-defense if you reasonably believe that it's necessary to prevent imminent great bodily harm.
All self-defense cases hinge on this phrase, reasonable belief. But who decides what's reasonable?
At the first level, it's the prosecutor who decides whether or not to bring charges in the first place.
Then the jury comes who's asked to step into the shoes of the person claiming self-defense and decide if what they did is reasonable. For the vast majority of the world, shooting an unarmed 16-year-old who just happened to knock on the wrong door is not reasonable and in fact abhorrent. But prosecutors and juries have a history of shocking the conscience.
Recall that the first prosecutor in the infamous Ahmaud Arbery case actually declined to bring charges. And then there's the case of Yoshihiro Hattori, who was also 16 years old, and an exchange student in the US from Japan living in Louisiana, when he mistakenly went to the wrong house for a Halloween party.
Even though he announced to the homeowner, "We're here for the party," he was shot and killed outside the home, and the homeowner was found not guilty by a jury.
Crazy how this fucking works, right? Fucking.
That's what scares me.
Yeah, that's what scares me. It's like, oh, self-defense, stand your ground, right?
Think about what he said though. That there's reasonable evidence that you know you were there to you prevented harm to yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy to me, man.
Louisiana is like my home state too, right? It's amazing how backwards the thinking is, and how these are the Bible Belt pro-life people, but when it comes to guns,
Oh, I'll take that away.
fuck, right? They don't give a fuck, right? As long as they can keep their guns,
Yeah.
right? Off the
What's
line that
crazy is-
protecting against like the government, like as if you can beat the government, as if I trust you to handle the government.
Yeah. But what's crazy is that in the midst of all these shootings, these two cases here, well, three if you include the other case that the guy just brought up in the last video, the shooting in Tennessee. Then there's a headline talking about how like Tennessee lawmakers are trying to pass some sort of law to shield gun manufacturers or to help protect gun manufacturers. It's crazy to me, man. I just don't get it. It's one of those things like I know we're a podcast, like we're supposed to like talk about this stuff, but honestly, sometimes like I don't know what to say about it anymore. Right? It's just like all these things happen, and then you read about a state that's actually trying to like protect the gun manufacturers or something like that. Like, is that why would you be working on passing something like that rather than a gun control law or something to, I don't know, ban certain types of firearms?
Money,
you know,
NRA, get that money, get the NRA money.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is absolutely nuts and abhorrent. Yeah, it's just as to the lengths that we will go to I guess protect things that shouldn't be protected, right? I mean, I always hate having a debate with like people who are pro Second Amendment or what they like to call themselves, because this isn't a logical debate, like by any means, right? In other normal circumstances, if we found like a problem was like killing people or whatnot, we'd handle it, right? But when it comes to guns, people they don't want to be they're in this mindset of, oh, the government's gonna take our guns and whatnot, right? And it's just a very stupid, mindless, mindset to be. So we should all risk ourselves getting killed, right? Like I think I've said this in this podcast before, right? They want it to be the Wild Wild West out here, where we all have our 6 shooters ready to go at all times. Why not? They have open carry now. Think about it. In Texas, Florida, open carry. Don't need to be trained at all because that's safe, right?
Which state was trying to pass the open carry? And you didn't need a license.
I think
somebody was trying to do that. Was that Florida?
Florida. Yeah, don't need a license.
That's
As if they don't have enough crazy people in Florida. They don't care. That's just the sad thing. Like that's just the sad part. They just don't really care.
It's ingrained in the culture. But I guess we talk about legislation, right? But for me, like beyond just like in my opinion, like banning assault weapons and things of that nature, like things that are pretty much like you don't really need. What else can you do legislatively to try to reduce these shootings or pass legislation to reduce these shootings, right? Because I mean, it just seems like at this point it's just part of the culture here. It's sad to say, right? Everybody wants a gun. I have a gun, right?
Yeah.
I've never taken it out of my house, never would, because I only, God forbid something happens here, but like that's why I have it, right?
It's for protection of your house, of your space.
That's what
right?
to me, that's what the Second Amendment is. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But what do you what do you do legislatively? Like,
Well, okay. Let's look at some of these too, and this involves like a much deeper conversation, much deeper than what we're willing to. A lot of people are willing to have now, like a more nuanced conversation. But let's look at like the two shootings that happened in Tennessee. One was someone who was transgender, right? Another person who was a white male, right?
yeah,
Um, both I think bought guns legally, right?
yeah,
Um, right. Both have had mental health issues. Both of them have, right? So these are things that we could easily screen for and say, like I see concussions on your profile here. Like I'm not giving you a gun, right? Or oh, you like I see that you've had like some mental health issues in the past. Not giving you a gun, right? That's got to be the place where we need to get to, where we need to be more comfortable in saying, hey, you know what? We need to do more to make sure people don't have guns, right? If you want to keep people safe, right? And they can't tell me that they're not unwilling to do this too, because the NRA has banned people from getting guns in the past. Black people, actually, right?
interesting.
Yeah, oh yeah, they've been very pro, like at least in the '80s, right? When Black Panthers were a larger
Oh
threat.
yeah, they didn't like that
Oh
at
yeah,
all.
they're like, oh no, no guns for you guys, right? So they're not opposed to like banning guns, right? It's not, right? And we've done it before. We've banned assault rifles before, right? Not to say that this guy, either party in this case, has assault rifles before, but we can if we wanted to, right? The fact of the matter is that we don't want to, and that's the sad part, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
the
mean,
very
I would
sad.
also get rid of open carry. I mean, what's the
Oh
point of
yeah,
that?
that's stupid. Like the idea that it's easier to get a gun than to drive a car is the stupidest thing in the world. The fact that you
Yeah,
don't need, without any permit, no training, you just be able to buy a gun,
you don't have to take a test or anything.
that makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Yeah. A little off topic too. You talked about Cameron Sexton. So apparently, so he's the guy. He's the Speaker of the Tennessee House, and he was responsible for, well, not him particularly, but he's one of the representatives that voted to bar the two Justins um, outside the Tennessee House. So apparently, he may be breaking the law himself, right? So I'm
How
not sure if
so?
you agree with this. So because he owns multiple houses in like I think not Nashville or Tennessee. So he doesn't own he owns a place of where he's supposed to be what you call it? Like representative, like a representative, like he rents a place there or I think owns a small house, but he actually lives in Nashville and his kids go to Nashville, go to a different school. So he actually lives in a different district than he represents, which is the
Wow.
yeah, I know, right? So it's amazing how you try banning like these two young representatives, right? Two young black representatives. They get brought back, and now your ass is in the seat now because now they're looking closer to you at your situation, right? And seeing if you should even be Speaker of the House or be allowed in the House at all, right?
Yeah, you don't even live with your constituents.
Yeah, he doesn't live with his constituents. He does not live with his constituents at all. Um, so yeah, I'm just trying to see. He apparently has multiple homes um, around. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's the thing. So it's amazing how that works, right? Um, how they're quick to ban these two young black men for protesting, right? But this guy, right? Nothing, right? Nothing
Well,
so far.
I have multiple homes. I can't decide where I want to live. So
Yeah, totally sad and just ridiculous, to say the least. But what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Except for
I'm
trying
praying
to
for the families of those victims for sure, man.
absolutely,
It is,
absolutely. And I hate the fact that there's tribalism involved in this because they want to make it a black and white thing, and it's not a black and white thing. Obviously, right? The woman that was killed was a white girl, right?
yeah.
And normally that would invoke a lot of anger in certain communities, but it's involved a gun, right? So apparently the anger isn't there for some reason, right? I remember a couple of years ago, like when a white girl went missing, and there was a whole lookout
Yep.
for like, where's this person? But with a brown person of color, Native American, which, oh, by the way, Native American women tend to go missing at a much higher rates than other races. Didn't know that.
Wow. Didn't know
Yeah,
that.
we say nothing. Nothing. Zip zotes nada, right? So, yeah, that's just a very, very unfortunate situation of kind of where we are now in our society. Um, and it's just frustrating and tiring and tiresome. But, yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. On another note, too, speaking of kind of selective outrage, right?
Chris Rock.
Yeah, it's that Chris Rock thing. Selective outrage is, I think, is the term, right? So how we're upset about Jordan Jefferson's, the two Justins that got kicked out, but not upset about the Speaker of the House. We'll get upset about other things, but when someone gets shot in the head and then in the arm, certain people aren't upset about it. Like it's ridiculous. But
Yeah.
in the selective outrage, and one of the videos that showed earlier about, let's talk about Fox News for a second, right? So I'm not sure if you probably heard this. They just settled a huge settlement, right?
Over 700 million.
Yes, $745 million. Like a little less than half of the 1.6 billion that they were asking for initially. And that's kind of the whole fuck around and find out type thing that's happened. Unfortunately, I'm a little disappointed, right? Because I really, really, really wanted to see them go to trial, right?
They weren't going to.
No, they're. I mean, it shows how talented things are, right? Because they need to protect their brand, right? They didn't want to be further embarrassed because what would have to have happened is that all of their anchors would have been held on trial, right? Would have had to have been on trial, and they would have to have been under oath, and they had to admit, like, yes, we knew about. We already saw the text messages, right? From all these guys, from Sean Hannity, from Laura Ingraham, from Tucker Carlson, right? On how they all knew that they were lying, right? But they just needed that money, right?
Yep. Money
They needed that
talks.
money. So they just pretty much, instead of standing up to their constituents, I wouldn't even call them constituents, their followers, right? And telling the truth, right? They continue to lie. They continue to support the big lie. As a result, they got ratings, right? And got money for it, right? So, and you can tell that this is kind of what they do. They just want to stoke fear because fear and anger is the best way to get attention.
Yep.
Right? And it's super unfortunate that that's kind of where we are, but that's where we are. And that's something that we have to kind of work to move past, so to speak. But
Yeah.
But,
No, I was ecstatic to hear about that. I didn't even know that case was going on. I didn't even know there was a case. And then this update just randomly comes across my phone. It's like Dominion and Fox News. What is this?
Yep.
And then I realized what it's about or whatever, because I mean they were spreading that narrative about the voting for a long time, and Fox only helped, right? It was pretty much Trump's megaphone, honestly.
Yeah.
So
he
a little bit of justice, not a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been better if they, so to speak, had to go on trial for it. It would have been better. It would have been nice to see that. But the unfortunate part is that the media, they didn't give a shit either, right? They just wanted their payday, right?
No, not at all.
And $700 million is a nice payday for them.
Yeah.
I think one of the lawyers is like, yeah, if you lie, then there is consequences, and there's some consequences, right? Maybe a lot of these smaller news sites would take notice to not like lie because they can't afford $700 million to pay in a lawsuit or a settlement,
Right.
right? Like Fox. But again, I would have loved to have seen Fox, or Fox News, like have their anchors on like the stand under oath, right? And to kind of see where they are there, right? And like how much does it cost to like hide the truth? About $700 million apparently, right? So that's like, yeah,
Pretty accurate.
it's crazy. Yeah. There's another video I want to play. This guy, so he's this is a little bit off topic. Well, it's on topic in the sense that he talks about how this anger theater, so you see in Congress and whatnot, and Fox News employs this a lot. But so this guy is he's a representative in Congress. I think he is North Carolina. I think his name is Jeff Georgeson or something. So yeah, I'm gonna hear from him now.
Brand new to Congress. I've only been there 100 days. And I don't know if I'm not supposed to say this out loud, but it's true and important. And if you don't know this, you need to. It's really clear from working there for just a few months that most of the really angry voices in Congress are totally faking it. These people who have built their brands around being perpetually outraged, it's an act. I've seen a bunch of examples. Here's one. I've been in committee meetings that are open to the press and committee meetings that are closed. The same people who act like maniacs during the open meetings are suddenly calm and rational during the closed ones. Why? Because there aren't any cameras in the closed meetings, so their incentives are different. What I've seen is that members of Congress are surrounded by negative incentives. There are rewards for bad behavior. You know what the big one is? Being able to reach you. The big thing that modern media and modern politicians have learned is that if they can keep you angry, they'll hold your attention. And they both want your attention. So if you're a politician and you show certain media outlets that you can help them keep their audience angry, they'll give you their audience. So that's real bad. But here's something good. What I love about this, about communicating with you directly, is that the incentives are different. They can be positive. They can be about speaking to you with respect and real information and in a normal tone of voice. Because if I can talk to you directly, I don't have to yell. And if you don't have to yell to be heard, the whole conversation changes.
Yes. So his name is Jeff Jackson, right?
Yeah.
So he's obviously a freshman congressman, and someone I've been following for a little bit this year. Seems like a good head on his shoulders, that guy. Former military. I think he's National Arms, National Guard. I think. Yeah, National Guard. So yeah, no, nice guy. But yeah, he pretty much hit the nail on the head. And it's funny because we make fun of Kardashians or other social media influencers for just wanting attention, right? Just wanting attention, right? But these guys are worse because they're willing to, I don't want to say do anything for the attention, but
that's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah, almost to the point where you see how the type of fear that they're stoking, right? An 85-year-old dude straight shoots through a door to attack an unarmed, 16-year-old, right? We saw this earlier. Also, I think it was also in St. Louis during one of the Black Lives Matter protests. Two people came out with their guns. One woman with her hand on the trigger, right, pointing them at protesters, right? Really, so it's amazing how these guys' minds have been like warped to do this kind of crap. So it's just sad, frustrating, and annoying.
Yeah. And one of the
so
things
to
is,
speak.
it's just that fear of losing the country. That's been a topic
Yes,
of discussion too, right? It's like certain
yes,
people have that
yeah,
fear, and just like your guy was saying, people play on that, whether it be Fox News about the voting or the fake votes or whatever, continuously playing that up, or politicians stoking their fears about certain
yeah,
things. There are people out there who take that seriously and are willing to act on it, right?
yeah, yeah.
So
They're they're willing to give them their attention, right, and then act on it. The acting part is on the money, right? How
exactly,
many conspiracy theories? How many? This actually happened in DC, near us actually, where um, someone lied. One of the QAnon supporters lied about, or just one of their stupid on their stupid like boards, whatever, where they said like this pizza shop was a Democratic what is it hotbed for like pedophilia or whatever, right? And some guy who goes and shoots up the place, some pizza place, because of what he
jeez,
heard, right? Um, yeah, this sounds far fetched, but it's not because we all saw what happened in January 6th, right? Um, we all saw what happened. It sucks, but yeah, what are you gonna do? What are we going to do about
keep
that?
praying about it, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, we should pray about freaking getting policies in place, right?
Yeah,
And do a little more than the thoughts and prayers type stuff. One other small thing that I want to discuss with you is have you heard about the Budweiser controversy?
I haven't. So I'm curious to see what this is about,
Oh, you
man.
haven't?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm assuming you have a
So
video.
I didn't know about this. I saw I think an Instagram or TikTok video of some older white male, right? Uh, super pissed. And if I had known you didn't know it, I've downloaded the videos. But super pissed about Budweiser. So apparently they have changed. They put a transgender woman on their cans, right, to promote diversity and inclusion. And this this was like the final straw. Like obviously, Budweiser drinkers, they're their own breed, right? But they saw this and they were just livid. They were like, "Oh no, I'm not drinking this anymore." Blah blah blah, blah, right? And apparently they lost a good bit of money, uh, because of this too. Um, and one person, that one thing I thought was pretty funny was the lead for Anheuser Busch. I forgot her name, but she's like the diversity and inclusion lead, and she was actually the person kind of responsible for this. And I thought it was interesting of when we think, where some people think of diversity and inclusion, what they think of initially, right? Because I think her thing was LGBT plus, right, as part of diversity and inclusion, right? Um, which I thought that was interesting. Not saying it's wrong by any means, but it makes you wonder. It makes me think about how we kind of use that to avoid some of the other things that are huge that's happening, especially with like black people getting shot, right?
Yep.
Um, so I thought that was interesting. Um, but I also what's even more interesting is that the cancel culture people, the people that whine about cancel culture the most, are canceling Budweiser. It's amazing how this works. The people that whine about cancel culture the most are complaining about Budweiser, and it's always amazes to me how people to protest they throw away things they've already bought. Right.
Yep. Yeah. No, I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
You know what's
So yeah,
funny?
that's what happened.
The stories about Budweiser. It's like I remember before. It was like a while ago, right? I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything about beer. I'm not a big beer person. But I got invited to a party, right? And I said, "What am I going to bring?"
Mm,
And I was like, "Oh, yeah, let's bring some beers, whatever." I was like, "All right." I go buy some Budweiser. But I was like, I can't just buy regular Bud. I'll buy Budweiser Select.
Oh!
I thought I was doing something. Again, not a beer
They
guy.
made fun of you?
I know Budweiser. I know what it is. It's supposed to be good. I see the commercials every Sunday on football. So bring the stuff over there. Bring a 12-pack over there. Put it in the cooler, right? And the people are at the party, like, opening the cooler, going back and forth, grabbing beers. And finally somebody's like, who brought the Bud? It's like I just like kind of looked around. I was like, pfft, I don't know. And I reached for like a Stella.
Well,
Moral of the story, I mean,
yeah,
Budweiser isn't even that hot anyway, so whatever.
yeah. I mean, it's, I'm not even, let me not comment. To Ramadan, let me not comment on this at all. But
That's right.
yeah, it's it's I have so many thoughts on that. But yeah, it's crazy.
Hey, I thought I was
It's
doing
crazy.
something.
When was this?
Oh, this is like back when I first moved up in the area. Maybe a few years after I first moved up here. This was a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think people like prefer craft beers above.
Oh yeah, for
Budweiser.
sure. Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, you live and you learn.
Oh yeah. I have not bought any Budweiser since. Unless I'm at a game and I'm being cheap, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, that's probably the place to buy it, right? Because that's the best.
That's like all they have.
It's like, well, it's the cheapest. It's probably the cheapest thing on the menu. Like, food at games like are overly priced anyway. So,
Oh, of
what are you
course.
gonna do there? Yeah. Okay. Well, I pretty much hit the things that I wanted to chat about.
Me too.
What else you got? We're a little bit on the.
Well, I wanted to talk about Mandalorian, but you didn't freaking watch the finale.
I haven't watched the last
A
episode. We'll watch
loser,
it.
man.
Dude,
You
this shit came
ruined
out.
it, bruh.
What are you talking about? This shit came out
You
today.
ruined it.
It came out today. One thing I was playing Horizon Forbidden West
Burning
DLC.
Sands. Yeah, tell us about that. How is
Burning
that?
Shores.
Give us a quick game review.
I've only played like maybe an hour at most. People have already beaten the game. This shit came out like fucking today. People have beaten the game already, which is just ridiculous.
You have a job. They're probably 12 and skip school.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, so Burning Shores. I don't know how much you're into Horizon, so you have to beat the Horizon Forbidden West game to get access to this. To get access to the DLC. So once you do, it's on a separate part of the map, actually. And
like the Frozen Winter for the last game.
Frozen Wilds, yeah. Well, Frozen Wilds, though, and I might be spoiling it a little bit, not too much. Frozen Wilds is at least connected to it. You can at least walk there, right?
Yeah.
This is a different part of the map. It reminds me of... Have you played Metal Gear Solid 5?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's an open world game, but they're in different areas, right? There's an Afghanistan area. There's an Africa area, right? Totally different maps, right? But it's still open world. So this is it's still open world, but it's like a different map, per se.
Okay.
Right?
We're in a different area.
Yeah. So still learning like to do things with there. She kind of has a partner, right? Aloy. So you're kind of learning more about her and how kind of they meet up and how they match up and whatnot. So pretty cool.
All right.
Pretty cool game. So I will report more on it later. You can go ahead and tell me what you thought of the Mandalorian season finale. No spoilers, please.
I enjoyed it, man. There was some chatter online about like the finale having like this just as much of like as of an emotional ending or something or whatever in it. I didn't see that this episode personally. That doesn't mean that it took away from the episode. I still thought it was very good. It wrapped things up nicely for me, in my opinion. And I do think that as a whole, I thought it was a good season. I think that the negative comments about it are rather unjustified. But it has some unnecessary cameos. I mean, we kind of talked about that already.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of fluff here and there, but I mean, I thought it was a strong season.
What do you think about Grogu being there? Because it felt like Grogu was probably more, I wouldn't say useless. As in he didn't have a lot more to do this season. Like in like the earlier episodes, he saved Din Djarin. That's essentially what he did, right? But that was pretty much it, right? And he stopped the fight in the robot.
No.
Yeah. If I was in Djarin, I would be like, "Fuck that! No, take that shit back right now."
I almost want to give that to my son. Like, dude, figure this out. No. But you say that, but I think this episode will give you something to consider as far as Grogu is concerned.
Okay. Good stuff.
I mean, hey, the kid can move. I'll tell you that. Boy can move.
Yeah. A little off topic here. By the way, Jonathan Majors faces career fallout amid domestic violence charges where Hollywood. So apparently more women has come out. I haven't read too much into it, but we'll look into it later.
Yeah, I'm not interested in talking about any celebrity gossip. No. Will Smith was enough, but that was like so huge. I couldn't help but talk about it.
Well, I mean, I feel this is a little more than gossip. This is a domestic violence situation, and how as much as I like Jonathan Majors too, I think his victims deserve to be heard as well. So, and that's kind of what makes it tough as well.
Sure,
right?
They deserve to be heard. I'm saying, I'm not interested in talking about it on this podcast. Okay, but
talking about him,
especially. Okay. So think about this, right? He gets. Well, somebody comes out, says that he was abusing her, but then I see something else about some text messages like, "Oh, I didn't think you were going to get in this much trouble, and I didn't mean it," or some other shit. So
the text message can be convenient though to cover him. So apparently he was the one that called the police. So yeah, there's a lot of play here, unfortunately. But I don't have I haven't been keeping up close enough with this to really give good feedback on this. And Nicholas doesn't even want to talk about it. So,
bro, I'm not trying to talk about celebrity gossip, man. It's just a bunch of nonsense, man. I just
I wouldn't call it gossip, but I think I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I hear you.
I say we got into it like enough with the Will Smith stuff. Because that was just like such a jarring, like it seemed like it was something on a bigger level, in my opinion. But like this right here.
So Will Smith was more gossip. The gossip with Will Smith was, like his relationship with his wife.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's gossip. Right. I would argue this isn't gossip. I would argue this is a domestic violence thing. How much do we want to talk about and give time to it is the question, right? If we should even at all.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it just seems like everybody's like hopping on the bandwagon to talk about it. Like, you see stuff come up because I watch Marvel movies, Google Marvel movies, then whatever's going on with those movies comes up in the feed. So now all of a sudden, his team dropped him. He's getting dropped from like all these movies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just like, it seems a little fast. Like, I understand that they have a for them, it's good business to distance themselves from it as quickly as possible. then on the other side, and again, this isn't something that I've really like looked into because again, like it's just I'm just not interested in in following up on this type of stuff all the time.
Okay.
But it's
Yeah.
like you hear about what he supposedly did, right? Again, it's allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah.
So then there's that, right? That kind of like pisses me off. It's like he allegedly did something. Oh, drop him. He's a horrible guy. Yada yada yada. Then something else comes out about, you know, I didn't mean it. So until I hear like something actually happened as far as like a court case or something, or
Yeah,
then,
no, that's
you know,
fair. So until there's an actually official decision based off of from Marvel saying, "Oh, we're going to move forward," or "We're not move forward with Jonathan Majors," I think that's definitely. I think that's a good point, right? It's definitely you probably shouldn't talk too much about it.
yeah.
But that being said, we're at an end, right?
Oh,
So
one other thing. Yes, I'm dragging this out. Went to go see the Super Mario Brothers movie this weekend.
how was it?
It was surprisingly decent.
Yeah. So apparently the critics didn't like it, but the audience did, and that's going to be something that is.
Well, I'll put it like this: I took a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old to see this movie. They did not complain. They didn't complain. They didn't rush to get up. They didn't whine about wanting to leave. A 5-year-old was just in it the whole time. The other one, you know, as long as she had popcorn, she was happy, right? And but it was her first movie, and her first experience in a movie theater. So there was a point where she was like, "I'm bored." And I was like, "Oh, you know, the point of going to a movie is you sit down and watch the whole movie, right?" So I let her like just sit with me for a little while. But
Aw.
after the movie, it's just like, yeah, I want to see it again. You know what I mean? So to me, that was just like, you know, they pretty much gave it 2 thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? And
That's what's up.
random anecdote here, but it's actually the day I took them to see the movie was 1 year, exactly 1 year to the day after I took my oldest to see her first movie. It's crazy.
What was Victoria, right? What's her first movie?
Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
actually a pretty good movie too.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So,
All right, a little light in the episode today, which can't complain about that.
no, sir, I got some work to do.
Yeah, I got a little work to do too. I might just wait till tomorrow morning and do it then. All right,
Wish I
cool.
could.
All right, let me let you go, man.
All right.
See ya.
Stay up, everybody.
Peace out.